So Becky, obviously, you've addressed this before, but an eventful few weeks for the club with the Yates report, and then obviously a big game for the team coming up on Sunday. What is the general feeling around the team right now, and what have the conversations been like behind the scenes about the off-field challenges?
To be perfectly honest, I think people are all over the place. I think the internationals are dealing with this away and then coming back in. For me personally, the players here have already had internal talks and meetings and whatnot, and so I think everyone's just kind of all over the place and basically figuring it out, how they're feeling on their own timeline.
Right.
But the soccer stuff has been good. I think the joy there is being found, and we're enjoying being around each other, and the fact that we got another 2 weeks with each other we're happy about that.
Becky, you've said that you think that people who were involved, owners in particular, that played a role in this and were named, a lot of whom were named in the Yates report, that they need to sell. Are you concerned that if they sell, that could stunt the growth of professional soccer in the States?
I think that is a concern that the NWSL needs to take very seriously, and I think because there's still that joint investigation coming out, that they will have, to my knowledge, disciplinary recommendations in there. And now that the NWSL will have the authority to make those decisions, I think that needs to be in their heads absolutely, that if we're keeping people in positions where they have enabled abuse, that it's going to start hurting the bottom line, and it's going to start, it's already seen, hurting the sponsors of the league and people's investment in the league.
Are you concerned that there might be some fans that might walk away forever if there aren't major changes made?
Absolutely. And I wouldn't blame the fans. I think the fans need to process, like we do, everything on their own timeline. And so if some feel that they just can't be here for whatever reason, maybe it's triggering, maybe they don't want to support the team, then that's their decision.
This game Sunday obviously holds a great deal of importance for the club and being able to eventually advance to the final. How has the team been able to compartmentalize everything and refocus heading into that big match?
I would say that for some it's easier than others. I think those that have been playing for a long time have gone through some things, and so they've gotten kind of used to it, as unfortunate as that is, to be able to compartmentalize bad things that have happened. So once again, I would just say that people are kind of taking it at their own stride. But from what I can tell, I think the locker room is in a pretty good place. I think the soccer is in a really good place. And so we're really hoping to show well 2 days from now on Sunday.
Yeah.
Sorry. You kind of lose track of time. But yeah, I think we're flying right now on the field. So hopefully we can show that on Sunday.
Right, and Rian talked about this yesterday, that players and these women who, in many cases, are part of the group of victims in this situation, are made to answer for the misdeeds of people who are in power. I'm wondering your thoughts on that topic and the fact that people like yourself and your teammates are put in these type of scenarios where you have to speak on these issues.
Yeah, and I feel like I've spoken about this before, that for so long it's always come back to the player to ask for change. And in the case that we found in this Yates report, repeatedly asking for change and putting in complaints and doing all the right things and following protocols, and then having those in authority not take those concerns and abuses seriously, or not taking accountability and responsibility and doing what needs to be done.
You brought up, being able to compartmentalize. What we saw from TV, at least, it looked like the national team struggled with that when you guys were overseas. So what's going to be different? Is it just there's more time, people have had time to process everything, that they will be able to compartmentalize and move on? Because it clearly took a toll on the national team.
I will respectfully disagree that it was not majority because of the Yates report coming out. I will say that there were performances that just weren't up to our standard against world-class teams. And so I will challenge you a little bit on that one. But my hope is that with a little bit of time here with Portland and with the players, that people have gotten to a better place and feel like they have found their joy on the field, and do whatever they need to do off the field in order to come to terms with what has happened.
What do you anticipate for Saturday, being that this is the first game in front of Portland fans since the report came out? What do you anticipate the feeling would be like.
Well, from what I've heard is that we have almost over 20,000 tickets sold, and then apparently Nike just came out saying that they, sold the upper deck, and so from my understanding, I'm expecting it to be quite supportive and energetic and lively, and hopefully that support from the fans, like we'll feel it on the field. I'm absolutely sure that we will, and hopefully we can put on a performance that we make everyone proud of us.
Do you worry about protests or anything in the stands?
I'm not worried about it. Do I think it could happen? Sure. As I'm just hoping that they're not violent and if they're peaceful, and everyone needs to say their piece. I hope people use whatever platforms they have to say what they need to say, but as long as everyone stays safe.
Have you talked to Merritt personally since you said overseas that you thought everyone involved needs to sell?
Nope, I have not talked to him.
And then,
Yeah, go for it, Joe.
back to kind of soccer stuff. You guys haven't played in 3 weeks now, right? You guys basically ended the season, went straight into a national break, and then you guys got the bye. Do you think it kind of gives you guys legs up to have that off time and kind of have that time to recover? Or do you think that it would have been more ideal if there was less of a giant gap there between quarters?
It's a fine balance. I think it's always beneficial if you can rest your legs a little bit after a really hard season. The internationals are in a different spot because we had games, but then also Portland organized a scrimmage against a boys team, and so we played them a few days ago and did 3:30s against them, and so people got at least 60 minutes, which is really great. So I would say people feel pretty played in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you watch the quarters as a team? Did
We
you have a watch party?
We had a watch party. Bella Bixby hosted it at her mom's house, and we watched the San Diego Chicago match, obviously, and had a nice little dinner.
Were you rooting for anyone in particular?
No, not really, because I always tend to find that whenever I root for a team, they always lose, and so I just try to stay open-minded. Yeah.
Alrighty, so in 4 matches against Portland, Taylor Korniak has scored 3 goals, and Alex Morgan has obviously a golden boot season. What is it going to take to slow them down?
That is the question of the day. Honestly, it will take a lot of defensive cover. I think with Taylor, she's just gifted in the air, and so you have to assume she's going to win the majority of the aerial battles, and it's just, are you picking up second balls? Are you making sure you're tracking the runners in behind? And yeah, you're going to have to body up on both of them, and yeah, they're both world class, and so you have to be focused 90 plus minutes. You can't take your eyes off of